It is noon and I am not in Colorado. Hey everybody, this is Leslie from GoToKitchens.com. Check this out. I have a big, giant cookbook from Whole Foods Market, and this is one of my favorite ever. One of my favorite cookbooks ever. I love this cookbook. So I brought it with me because I read it a lot, and I wanted to share with you guys that I was reading through recipes. I wanted to share, hey, it's good to see you, JC. I wanted to share with you guys a little bit about how to read a recipe. So this is kind of like how to read a recipe and how to prepare for cooking 101. These are my top 5 tips for that. So let me introduce myself super fast. My name is Leslie. I have a website, GoToKitchens.com. That website is designed to help you learn how to cook. It's help you to learn to love to cook. I always say I like to help people fall in love with kitchens and themselves. And I am telling you, if you're here with me for the first time, I do not sell a thing. I do not have anything for sale. The only thing that I want you to buy is I want you to buy into your own health. And that's what Go To Kitchens is all about. So, hi, it's good to see. Hey, Victoria, I haven't seen you in a long time. That's right, Evan. Hashtag love to cook. And we are still in, yes, a recipe. That's beautiful, JC. I love that. I love that you said that. Hey, Sherry, it's good to see you. Yes, it's good to see you from Cincinnati. Good to see you. So is that Kimothy? Is that right? Did I pronounce that right? Kimothy? That's an interesting name. It's actually quite beautiful. I was scoping. Don't scope when I scope. You missed me? Yes, I missed you guys too. You missed the bookcase. I know. So we are still in Fort Worth. We had, there are all the roads, not all, but a lot of the roads between here and Denver and Fort Collins are completely shut. They're closed. They're done. You can't get through them. So we are here. I'm not going to say we're stuck because we're not stuck. Holy cow, we get to spend a whole nother day with my family, which is awesome. And we're actually going to go see the Star Wars movie this afternoon. So hi, it's good to see you guys. Thanks for being here. So here you go. So we're going to talk about reading a recipe today, and I'm super excited to do that with you. So if you would, I'm going to ask you one time, just right down here in the corner, there's a little ball-headed guy. If you would just touch that little guy, I know it sounds creepy, right? Touch that little ball-headed guy and share it with your followers. I would absolutely love for you to do that. Nana is awesome. Didn't she do it? We had so much fun last night. I can't believe she actually came on camera. It was amazing. I need to go look at her kraut this afternoon. We'll do that. I actually scoped. If you didn't know, I've been scoping with my dad. I know, right? You guys are so funny. I've been scoping with my dad while we've been here for Christmas. I made sauerkraut for Nana last night. So, hey, Roz, it's good to see you. So this is my top 5 tips for not only reading a recipe, but getting ready to cook. I will tell you, thank you so much, JC. That's very sweet. You guys are funny. So I will tell you that when I started to learn to cook, I actually had a lot of recipes that were handed down to me. So I learned to cook from recipes that my mom taught me, and recipes that my dad taught me, and recipes that my Nana taught me, and recipes that Mama taught me. And that's how I actually started to learn to cook. Now, as I started to change my health journey and I started to think more about my health, I really wanted to think more about what kind of foods do I need to eat. So it was difficult. It was difficult for me at the beginning to learn to read and cook from a recipe. It seems like I would, yeah, no real measurements. Absolutely. Everything was just like a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and it's going to turn out great. And so when I started to learn to cook healthy, I needed to learn to teach myself to read a recipe and cook from that. So these may not be like the culinary ways of, phone's ringing. Hello, not mine. Somebody else's. Hello. I know, she's a sweetheart. She's gorgeous, isn't she? So this is not really from the culinary experience. This is how Leslie reads a recipe and gets through it without screwing something up way of doing it. So I thought I would share that out to you guys. Yeah, no, it's very true. A lot of people never measure. And I will tell you, if you make a recipe routinely, like I have some staples. Somebody was asking me, how do I meal plan? And so I have some staples that I constantly make, like over and over again. I really don't need to do this. But until I'm really familiar with a recipe, I actually refer to it quite often. So probably up to 5 to 10 times, depending on the difficulty of the recipe. Then after that, I kind of know it, and I can keep. I know, it's true. When you're baking, you can't do that. No joke, Jen. You have to absolutely follow, when you're baking, you need to follow the recipe. So, and measure. Jen's a baker, by the way, so that's why she's on about that. I wanted to see you decorating your cookies last night, and I couldn't because I was already in bed, and Rob would be like, really? You're watching video in bed, Leslie? Hello? So anyway, I need to go catch the replay, Jen. So this is, again, this is one of my favorite cookbooks. I love this cookbook. You bakers are troublemakers. It's hilarious, and I love you for it. Okay, good. So this is just basically what a standard recipe would be. This is actually what I call a teaching cookbook, and I'd like to talk about the different forms and where you're getting your recipes from. And I'm not talking about like where to get them from. It is a whole foods cookbook, and I love it. I love this cookbook. It's so amazing. It is a teaching cookbook, and I love that. And everything has a story, and I really, really like that about it. So they tell how the recipe was developed and why you should be eating it. And I love that. I hope one day if I ever have a cookbook that it's a great cookbook. I hope one day if I have a cookbook, it actually is a little mirrored from this, because I love knowing how and why and where the evolution of the recipe. So yes. Yes, yeah, I don't know how old this is. I've had it for quite a while, but I actually bought it at a secondhand store. Let's see, how old is it? This was written in 2002. Holy cow, it's kind of old, but that's okay. I'm totally going to have a cookbook. Thank you. Yes, that is the goal, to have many cookbooks, to have a ridiculous amount. Like everywhere you go, you're like seeing my big giant head on the front of a cookbook. That's the goal. Actually, I don't want to be on the cover. Anyway, so yes, amazing. Yeah, I buy mine in thrift shops. I buy them estate sales. I buy all those little recipe boxes. Do you guys do this? So I go places, and we're in antique, because we used to be antique dealers, and so I find those little recipe boxes, and they're chock full of recipes, and I'm like, oh, I gotta have that. I don't care if it's like 20 bucks. I gotta have that. That has somebody's cherished recipes in it, and I want it. And I love it when cookbooks have been written in, or the pages have been dog-eared or somehow marked. I love that. So you want to sign? Yes, we'll get you a signed copy. Absolutely. So, all right, so let's you're a recipe creator. Oh, that's amazing. I did not know that. Good for you. Keep your mouth shut. That's right. This is not coming from the culinary aspect. This is what Leslie does to stay on track aspect. So, all right, so let's talk about the different types of cookbooks there are. To me, there are just some basic 4 types of cookbooks. And this is just coming from me. And we're talking about actual printed books like this, a printed book, not just a website. A lot of us are getting our recipes from websites, and that's absolutely amazing, because I have a website with tons of recipes, and I want you to get some recipes from there. But I'm talking about actual cookbooks. So for me, there's 4 different types. One is visual. The visual cookbook has all the beautiful pages of, glossy pages with gorgeous photographs in it of the food. And you guys know I love food porn. I love pictures of food. I love looking through like a magazine that's been beautifully photographed of food. Oh my gosh. And I actually love doing food photography as well. So I think that's why I appreciate it. It's like an art form to make it that beautiful. So there's the visual type. It has lots of photos. It has, you have a planned expectation of what the dish is going to look like. I know. That's awesome, Liam. I know. Who doesn't? Why wouldn't you love food porn? Hello? But you have lots of expectations of what the food's going to look like, what it should look like when it's done, and you try to create it based on that photograph. So there's visual cookbooks. I think those are great for beginners that have absolutely no idea about what quinoa looks like when it's done. I mean, it's great to have a visual guide. Those are awesome, but I use them as well because I know, I do love that that's a perfect way to put it, Roz. You can almost smell the food. It looks so beautiful. That's how I love food photography like that. So there's a visual type of cookbook. There is a themed cookbook. Now this is where most cookbooks fall in. So there's a theme. Rachel Ray got super famous from her 30-minute meals. That's how we know Rachel Ray, is because she had these 30-minute meals, and we just loved that. We loved that you could make an entire meal in 30 minutes. So playing is an art. Yes, plating. Yes, plating is an art. Absolutely. I was like, what does that mean, Ross? But Rachel Ray actually made a fortune off of her 30-minute meals. It is something she's never strayed from. If you watch her show and you get her magazine, you actually see that she's still making money off of those 30-minute meals. And it's an amazing concept. But her cookbooks were designed around that, and they were visually beautiful. But that is a themed cookbook. So you see it and you go, you have the expectation that you can make these meals in 30 minutes. And then there's food categories, there's ethnicities, there is, vegetarian, there's healthy, there's southern, there's family, there's celebrations, there's cupcakes, there's cookies. Holy cow, I could go on and on and on about themed cookbooks. So that is another category. Another one for me would be teaching cookbooks, which is like this cookbook. At the beginning of this cookbook and at the end of it, it is full of pages about, just what you need in the kitchen, what you need to get started to use this cookbook. Here's the basic tools that you'll need to use this cookbook. Here are our terms. When we say you brine something, this is how you brine it. So they go through and they teach you methods of healthy cooking. And I love that. These are my favorite kinds. I like visual, but if I'm actually going to read, and I do read my cookbooks, if you're actually going to read the book, I like a visual like this. And it's so, they have marketed it so beautifully. You know it's Whole Foods. I mean, just by these little things down here, you can tell that it's Whole Foods. So yes, so I like that. Hey, Donna, it's good to see you here today. So, and then, and these are usually big fat cookbooks like this, like these big giant cookbooks. And I love that. Like The Joy of Cooking. I love those types of cookbooks. They're amazing. Hey, Casey, it's good to see you here today. Thanks for being here. So the other one that I would consider is lifestyle cookbooks. This is where you get a story along with your recipe. So you're reading along, you're reading a story, and then there's a recipe to go with that. And so I know I love cookbooks too. I'm a little obsessed. You can ask my husband. I buy them like 10 and 20 at a time at the thrift store. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just admitted that. It's like an addiction. It's a full-on addiction. I love cookbooks. Hello, this is what I do. I'm a food blogger. I'm supposed to have cookbooks, right? I'm supposed to have a big, giant collection of cookbooks. That's my justification. Oh, yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I absolutely get that, JC. And I'm like that too. I don't really care about pictures anymore, although I like to look at them. So there's only one, really? Okay, you better get on that, Liam. Liam, I can see a niche for you right there. Yep, I know. Hey, it's good to see you, Lucille. I haven't seen you in a couple of days. So lifestyle cookbooks. So this could also include like diets. This could include meal planning. This can include kind of just a way of life, cookbook. So if you're looking for a guide almost, there's those types of cookbooks as well. So look, it's like somebody they loved the cookbook so much they took a bite out of it. Love this cookbook. I'm eating it. It is my career. Thank you. It's true. See, Valerie gets me. I know, right? It's a big old chunk out of it. See, I bought this one at a thrift store for $2.99, and it's been quite a while ago, actually. So yes, love, love, love this cookbook. Okay. So now you have gone through your cookbooks. Those are the types of cookbooks. You've gone through your cookbooks. You found your favorite types of cookbooks. That's the kind that you're buying, and you find a recipe. So now what? I've got a recipe, but what the heck do you want me to do with it now that I see that? Because it's instructions. And if you're like me, I don't really read instructions. Like if I get something that needs to be put together, I try to put it together without the instructions first, and then I go back and think I should probably read the instructions. I don't do that with cooking so much. I actually follow the instructions, but I have a very specific, hi, welcome. I have a very specific path that I follow, and this is my path. So this is my top 5 tips for reading a recipe recipe and actually getting down to cooking. So yeah, I alter recipes all the time as well. And that's actually one of my tips. So, and it's one of my first tips. So my first tip is, let's say you have found, and I just picked something here, but let's say you have found a recipe, okay? And this is what you're gonna make. We're gonna make apricot glazed sweet potatoes. Holy cow, that sounds amazing. But anyway, so yes. So here's your recipe. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to read the entire recipe. This is where I think a lot of people make a mistake. They look at the title and they go, oh, that is absolutely gorgeous and I want to make that. Or they see a photograph and they go, oh, I want to make that. If you're a visual cookbook person, you are on the internet or whatever, you go, oh, I'm totally making that. But you never read the recipe until you're ready to cook it. So my idea is to always read the recipe all the way through. Before you even make a decision on, I'm cooking that, you may have already gone, oh, I want to cook that. But before you even make a decision, read it all the way through and decide if it's really something that you want to cook. That's number one. Along with that, you need to decide at that point if you're changing any of the ingredients. So I might look along here and I see that it calls for a cup of orange juice, 1/8 of a cup. That's not very much. I probably wouldn't change that. 1/4 cup of honey. Okay, yeah, that all looks pretty good. So I'm going to keep this recipe like it is, but although it does have maple syrup and brown sugar and orange juice and honey, no, we would be changing some of that. I just read a little bit more there. So, but yes, always read your recipe first and make a decision if you want to change anything. So I know that's a little bit too much for me, but I would make a change there. So I would actually alter this recipe. It is a lot. Don't get hung up on the recipe here, people. I just picked one out willy-nilly. So, but I would make some changes to this to make it better fit my diet. But that is part of the tip, is that you need to make a decision right there if you are going to make any changes to this recipe. So I would probably be making some changes here and use less sugar because I don't need that much sugar in my food at all. So the next thing is that I would read this recipe completely all the way through, and then I would decide, what do I have in my pantry right now that fulfills the needs of this recipe? Sometimes I read a recipe and I'm like, holy cow, I have everything in my pantry right now. I'm going to make it. That's what I do. I'm like, I'm going to go make it right now because I have everything that I need for it. So, and that may absolutely be true. But you need to make a list. So here's what, do you do that? Never happens to you. Happens to me all the time. I'm like, oh, I have all that and I need to use it and I'm going to go do it. So, and I'll just stop everything and go make a recipe. So I don't do it like before I'm ready to go to bed or anything, but because I read recipes at night before I go to bed a lot. And I don't get up and go make it, but sometimes I read them during the day and I'm like, oh, I have everything. I'm going to totally make that. So, but if you don't, you need to check your pantry, check your fridge, check all those kinds of things and go and make sure that you have what you need. From that, you need to develop a list. Okay, these are the things that I have and here's the things that I don't have that I need to go buy, and make a list for yourself. The next thing that you need to do is that you need to decide when you're going to make the recipe. I know, right? I do that too. That's right. Go see if the neighbor has it if you don't have it. Yeah, go run over there. Do you have a cup of sugar? Isn't that what they used to say? Can I borrow a cup of sugar? That was an excuse to be nosy. Like, I think in like Leave It to Beaver episodes or something like that, like June would go over and say, can I borrow a cup of sugar? As she wanted to go be nosy, and that's why she needed the sugar. So anyway. Oh no, I think that was Lucy, and I love Lucy. Yes. So check the list twice. That's right. So make sure that you have everything that you need, and then go shop for your ingredients. That's obvious. You need to go shop for your ingredients. And then the next thing I'd like for you to do is sugar, eggs. That's right. Yep. So the next thing I'd like for you to do is I'd like for you to plan a time that you're going to make that. Let's say it's a dinner. So it's something you're going to make for dinner or breakfast or whatever. And you need to plan a time to do that. This is a new recipe for you. Sometimes I am a recipe developer. I am a food blogger. It's what I do. So I go fly off and go make the recipe because I'm so excited to share it with you guys and I want to make sure it's good before I actually share it with you. And so, so I just fly off in the kitchen and do that. But if it's something specific like a dinner or breakfast or lunch or brunch or whatever it is, then you need to, I know, right? Then plan a time to actually, this would be the best practice, is to plan a time when you're going to serve that. So, so that you know that you have enough time allotted to make the recipe and make it correctly. That's right. Some are weekends and some are weekdays. I absolutely agree with that. So, and then in our house, I make an announcement. My blog is my website. Yes, go to kitchens.com. There's a recipe page there and a blog page there, and they are different. Although all the recipes are on the blog page, there's other blog posts on there as well from me, and they're usually just thoughtful posts, things that I've thought about or things that I wanted to share with you guys. So, hey, Sonia, it's good to see you. So it's, thank you. Yeah. So at that point, I make an announcement. Hey, I'm going to try a new recipe on Tuesday night. I can't wait to share it with you. I tell Robin, in this case, you could tell your entire family, hey, I'm going to make this. I can't wait to share it to you. It sounds so good. Make it an announcement, build some excitement, get people rallying around what you're, what you're about to do. So, or with our friends, when our friends are coming over, we have friends over for dinner quite frequently on Sunday nights. In fact, almost every Sunday night we do this. I serve dinner to friends. And so I like to make an announcement. I'll text them, here's what we're having on Sunday night. I'm so excited. I can't wait to share it with you. And they're kind of my test kitchen. Like, that's awesome. I love that, Casey. They're kind of my test kitchen. They're the ones who get to taste the recipes typically before I send them out to you guys. So I make an announcement. I make an event. You know, an event is much more exciting than a chore, right? And I say this a lot, but having an event, looking forward to an event is much better than a chore. And a lot of people think of cooking as a chore, and it's not. It's a beautiful thing, and it's an event. It is what keeps your body moving. What you do in that kitchen is what keeps your body healthy. So you need to look at it as fun and not as a chore. We don't serve, actually, very rarely would we ever even contemplate that. So yes. Okay. So now it's time to cook. So now we have found a recipe. We have read it all the way through. We know we have all the ingredients. We know everything is ready to make the recipe. So now it's time to cook. So hashtag love to cook, hashtag time to cook, and now it's time to cook. So now what? So I always recommend that if it's been a few days since you've read your recipe, to read it again. And I don't know if you guys know, actually I'll share that in just a second. That's part of another tip. I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm excited to share this with you. So what I do when I have a new recipe is I get all my ingredients out for that recipe. I go down my list, I get all my ingredients out, and I set them on my counter to make sure that everything is out and ready to start for preparation. Then I read the instructions again, and then I go to page 2 of my notes. So yes, and that's what I would do in my second tip. So my second tip for you is to put all your ingredients out, all right? Put all your ingredients out so that you can see them. And then read your instructions again and make sure that you have everything out. So making twice, all right? So checking your list, looking twice, making sure you have all your utensils, that you have all your pots and pans, and all those things are ready to go. So well, that's actually my next step. So number 3, so my next tip, so number 3 is prepping for cooking. So my suggestion to you is if you have a chopping, if you have dicing, if you have cleaning, like you need to clean a chicken or whatever, you need to debone something or whatever, my suggestion is that you do that next, that you get all of that ready, that you chop, dice, prep all of those veggies, all of that meat, whatever you're cooking with next. And part of that is a process, somebody just typed it in here, is a process called mise en place. And you guys have seen me, if you watched me ever before, you know that I do mise en place a lot. And that is not just for cooking on camera. That is actually a standard practice for me, especially when I'm cooking a new recipe. If it has more than 4 ingredients in that recipe, I always mise en place. Mise en place simply means everything in its place. So, yeah, you can take the protein out of the fridge. Absolutely. It can just sit on the counter. It's not going to be like an hour. I mean, if you think you're going to be an hour prep, then you should leave it in and wait. But I just take mine out. So most of my meals are simple and easy, and I'm not prepping for an hour because I don't have time to be standing there prepping for an hour. So So basically what mise en place means, or everything in its place, means that you're going to have a bunch of little bowls or containers. Some people even use Ziploc bags. You can use whatever you want. I am busy. You can use whatever you want. You can find beautiful. I love to buy you guys have seen my mise en place bowls are all over the board. I have stainless, I have glass, I have ceramic, I have really cute ones, I have really silly ones, I have beautiful ones, I have ones that are made of china. I mean, I have them all over the house. Literally, it drives Robin nuts because he opens a cabinet and he's like, really? Do we need another little bowl, Leslie? I mean, honestly, do we need another little bowl in the house? Like, yes, because I love them. So, yes, I found Splat. Oh, you found Splat a family. Yes. So, but when we go to thrift stores or anything, or we go into a kitchen store, I am constantly buying all these. Hey, Natalie, it's good to see you. I'm constantly buying all of these little bowls. So I love to do that. So I measure all my ingredients out. This is what mise en place is. You measure out all your ingredients and you put those in those little bowls and you have them ready to just pour right into your recipe. So everything's measured. So you're not trying to cook, you're not trying to read a recipe and measure at the same time. Your measuring is already done. So when it says add the salt, you can just add the salt and you're not going, okay, and then I add the salt. Okay, how much salt do I add? And your eyes aren't going back and forth in the recipe. They can stay in one place in the recipe. I knew somebody was going to say that it makes a bigger mess. It makes a bigger mess, but it saves you time overall, and it saves you money. And you want to know how it saves you money? It's because you don't put, 1 tablespoon of salt and 1/8 of a tablespoon of cardamom. You don't screw those two things up, because when you screw that up, you've screwed up a recipe. So it saves you time. Ultimately, if you are not doing these types of practices, you run the risk of doing that. So it can save you time and money. And those bowls are typically not terribly messy, so they're just a quick rinse, or just stick them in the dishwasher. So yes, so mise en place, in my opinion, is one of the best techniques, especially if you're a new cook. Thank you for the recap there. Especially if you right? Especially if you're a new cook, especially if you're new in the kitchen, especially if you're working with new recipes. And I know a lot of you that are beginning and starting, yes, see? A lot of you that are beginning and starting your health journey, this is really an important tip for you, and I highly, highly recommend it. I can tell you some of the best chefs that know their recipes backwards and forwards in the entire planet cook with mise en place. It is not just for newbies, it is for everybody, and it saves you time. And those dishes are tiny and they just stick right in the dishwasher. So you're on an unhealthy journey. That's fine. One of these days, Jen, you won't be able to stand it. You will have heard too much and you'll just have to conform. Yes. So yes, absolutely. Hey, it's good to see you. Thanks for being here. Yes. It's absolutely right. When you're working with fast recipes that things are happening quickly, it is so awesome just to pour it in and not have to think about it and not constantly referring back and forth to the recipe. And you really decrease the chance of screwing it up and getting something going, what the heck did I just make? So yes, mise en place is amazing and I highly recommend it, and it's fun. You get to go buy all these little cute bowls, and you can get them at thrift stores for like 99 cents, and you get to have all these really cute little bowls. So measuring cups, measuring spoons, all of those things, those are all things. And one day we will go through and we will make a list of things that you should have in your kitchen, just the standard utensils that you should have in your kitchen. And we'll go through my kitchen and I'll show you all the unnecessary things that I have in my kitchen. Thanks, Victoria. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for all the replay views too. Yes, absolutely. I agree. An excuse to shop. That's right. Mise en place bowls are fun to shop for, and they're cheap. That's what I love about them, I think, is because they're so cheap and I can have millions. I don't have millions. I probably have 100. Did I just admit that? One day I'm going to do a scope and I'm going to get all my mise en place bowls out so you guys can see how many I have. It's, there's a few. I have a few of them. I like them. I can't help it. They're for photographs. That's always my excuse. It's for photographs. So funny. Okay, number four, right? Number 4 is now it's ready to cook. You're ready to cook. So this is my tip for number 4. This is one of my favorite tips, and some of you are going to know this and some of you aren't, but when I write recipes, I just naturally write, and I'm not super good at this, and sometimes I leave out things and I don't mean to, but it's just me, and one of these days that'll get all fixed and somebody will be doing it for me and everything, but I write all my own recipes out for you guys, and so it's natural for me to, yeah, condiment bowls are fine. That's absolutely fine. So I just got part of that. I don't know exactly what it said. Oh, everybody's saying it's funny. You said something funny and I missed it. Dang, I hate that. So when I write a recipe, I put the ingredients in the order. I put the ingredients in the order that they're going to go into the recipe. Now that is very natural for me. What I didn't know as I start talking to people about writing a cookbook is that's how you write a recipe like professionally, is that you actually put the ingredients in the list that they are to go into the recipe. Who knew? So all your recipe books that are professionally written like this, and I'm not talking about blog posts. Yes, I know they're not always like that, but they should be, when they have an ingredient list, they should be in the order. Did you know that? Yeah, they should be in the order that they actually go into the recipe. That's how I set out my mise en place as well. When I have everything in its place in those cute little million bowls that I have, not $1 million bowls, they're cheap. Then I know, now it annoys me. When I read it, I'm like, oh, this isn't how this goes in here. But it can be frustrating, I agree. And it's typically from websites that I see that, and it's probably just because they don't know. I mean, they're trying to be helpful, but they just don't know. So I try not to judge. So I know, I need to go back and one day I'm going to have my website edited, and I got to pay somebody to do that. So I haven't done it yet because I don't make any money, but eventually I'm going to have my website completely edited and have all of that corrected, where all the recipes, because I bet I have some out there that are not like that. So, but I just think it's really cool that they do that, that's the natural progression as things go into the recipe. That's how the ingredients list. I actually set my mise en place out like that too, so that it kind of follows a little pattern of when the ingredient goes in. So if I know that the turkey doesn't go in until the end, it's not sitting right by my stove, it's sitting at the end of the mise en place line. So did you used to be an editor? Yeah, so I have somebody in mind to do it. I just need to find a way to pay for it. Because it needs to be edited. I understand that. Because of my dyslexia, things get really screwed up, and even Robin, who is a great editor, still misses things, and I see them like 4 days later. I'm like, oh man, and I try to correct them all, but it's not good. So yeah, I just cook for them, right? Yeah, the editor I want is actually not in my city, so you will edit for free? Are you kidding me? That's a lot of work already. There's a lot of recipes on there, Jen. I wouldn't say that. But I might take you up on that. So funny. That's awesome. I love you. Okay, so you're ready to cook. So I say that you put all your ingredients out in that mise en place in the order that you're going to add them to your recipe. This will help save you time. This will help save you energy. This will help everything, and it makes the recipe go really, really smoothly, and you won't get so frustrated as, where'd that stinking salt go? You know, where did that cheese? I need cheese. Where'd the cheese go? I mean, so you're not running around with your hair on fire like a crazy person trying to cook. So especially, hey, it's good to see you. Especially if you are a new cook or you're changing your lifestyle. So if you're making new habits, it can be frustrating as it is. So you might as well remove some of the frustration. And these are some of my suggestions. So read as you go. As you're reading the recipe, read it. I like to read mine out loud when I'm cooking. I know people think that's nuts in my house, but I'm like, okay, add a cup of whatever, 1 cup of yellow mustard seeds. Okay, that's what I'm adding. I can't imagine what would call for 1 cup of yellow mustard seeds. That would be like a crazy recipe. But yes, but I read aloud to make sure that I am getting everything, because as a dyslexic, I can really screw things up easily. So yeah, I like to read aloud when I'm cooking. Hey Tanya, it's good to see you. I thought I saw somebody type in Muggy Moo earlier. Yes, yes, I am. I am an auditory learner for sure. Yeah, all the mustard seeds and all of the world go into this recipe. Oh, That's right. Okay, so, and then the other thing that I like to suggest at this point when you're ready to cook is that you actually have planned enough time for the recipe. Now, raise your hand if you've ever started a recipe and you've ran out of time. You're like, oh my God, people will be here in 10 minutes and I'm not even ready. That is totally me. I've done that about a billion, million, trillion times because I did not plan enough time. So I know as I go along, I know, right hand, me, I've done that, totally done that. But I know that how long some of my recipes have done, right? How long it takes. Everybody's seated at the table, they're ready to eat. It's like 6:30, it's time to eat, and you still have 20 minutes of work to do. So make sure that you leave enough time to make a recipe. So they want you to know, Dad, that there's an extender ring for your New Wave oven so you can fit a big thing in it like a turkey. That's what they're saying on here. So he's shaking his head yes, like you knew that maybe. But so I know I'm a terrible time manager. Sherry, you and I have discussed this before. I am not great at time management. So yes, so if it says that it takes 30 minutes to prepare something, okay, let's say that I'm baking something and I prep it all, I stick it in the oven, and it has to cook for 40 minutes. I know I have 40 minutes to do other things or go do my hair, check my makeup, or whatever I'm doing before a dinner party. But, but yes, add a little time. Somebody just said that. Add a little time to that. Add 10 or 15 minutes to that. I promise you, you will be very happy. If you have extra time, who cares? It's much better than being out of time. So yes. Is it? Oh yeah. I actually have a couple of planners that people have showed me that I'm going to try to implement because my time management skills are so poor, and it's recognized. It's recognized among my peers that my time management is poor. I'm not like I'm not perpetually late. Like you guys know that it's 12 o'clock and I'm here with you guys. That's not my problem. It's just getting everything done. So 5 minutes from, no, it doesn't take you that long. Yes, I agree with that. Yes, don't watch scopes or TV or anything if you're working with a complicated recipe because you can screw it up. I cook and watch your scopes all the time. Everybody scopes. But yeah, you have to be really careful about that. It's because you can mess things up very, very, very easily. So unless you're cooking along with me, I had somebody email me the other day that she was actually, she knew what I was going to make, and she had gone to my website. It was a recipe from my website. She knew what I was making, and she actually cooked along with me as I went. I thought that was awesome. That's like one of my big dreams, is for people to cook along with me as we go. Like put the recipe out there ahead of time, and then people be in their kitchens ready to cook as I'm cooking. I just think that would be so much fun and awesome. And one day, people, one day. Yeah, we'll just have a big cook along. So, and we'd have to go slow. Like a 30-minute recipe would take like an hour and a half. So I know it would be so fun, right? Yeah, everybody's ready. It's probably the future of one of our programs that we will offer with Go-To Kitchens. We'll have like a meal planning type program, it's kind of like a evolving cookbook kind of idea. And part of that will be, you will be admitted to a private group and you would be able to cook along with us in small groups. So we would make recipes together so you could ask questions, and yes, like a virtual cooking class. Absolutely. So eventually we will get there and do that. It just takes a lot of time and preparation for that. So we're working towards those types of goals as we speak. So yes. And if you ever see Evan from Summers Wellness on here, he was just here earlier, but yeah, he's actually helping me develop things like that. So yeah. And then, yeah, I think it would be great. So one day soon, hopefully. Not soon like next week, but soon like within 6 months. Is that soon? So, okay, so my number 5 tips is make it beautiful. Beautiful, okay? It is so important that food, I've never eaten food before. Has anybody here ever eaten food? I don't even know what that is, but food is visually, I see what it was. It was food and visual, so I said food. I just combined them together. So, yes, so that's the new word, is food, and that means... Yes, food is when food is visually stimulating. Hashtag food. Food is the word for visually stimulating food. So you look at it and you think, wow, that is beautiful. I am super, super conscious about this. when I plate up something, I want it to be beautiful. I want you to, yes, I want you to look at it and go, oh, I have to eat that and I have to eat it now. It is so important to me. I want you to be able to, even through my photographs, I try to get it where you look at it and you go, I have to make that because that looks fabulous. That is always my biggest chore. I mean, I want the food to taste great, obviously, but that kind of comes naturally. The recipes and stuff that I cook, I mean, I have fails. Trust me, I have fails. You guys watched the popcorn truffle episode, right? I have fails, but I want food to be beautiful and I want it to taste great. So plating is really, really important, especially when you're serving others. For yourself, you know what? If you just want to plop it on the plate, but I say part of your self-care, if you're cooking for yourself, is to make your food, man, I can't vood. I just want to really say that, vood, to make your food beautifully appealing to the eye. So it's just kind of a gift to yourself to look at something and go, holy cow, that's beautiful. It did work. I know it wasn't a complete fail, but it was a little bit of a fail. So, so I had made them before. I don't know what I had done differently that time, but that's just kind of how recipes roll sometimes. Sometimes you make something and it's so good you can't stand yourself and you make it again. You're like, really? That was really good before. What did I do? And it's typically because you didn't mise en place the second time because you're confident in the recipe. So. Thank you. That is my goal, actually, Valerie. My goal is, in fact, if you read my website, I say I want to help people fall in love with their kitchen. I want to help millions of people fall in love with your kitchen. So that's why I tried to give you these tips and these ideas. So, you know, being thoughtful about what food looks like on a plate, making it beautiful is so important. You do not have to have $1 million china. You do, like my dad does. No, I'm kidding. It's not $1 million china, but it's beautiful antique china. But Mom and Dad have this whole place. Look at that. It's so gorgeous. Anyway, but you don't have to have beautiful plates and all that kind of stuff, but you can make food look beautiful on any plate, a paper plate for heaven's sakes. So that is a beautiful little handle, isn't it? So there you go. Those are my top 5 tips for reading recipes and making them work in your kitchen. You can also cook in a clean and uncluttered kitchen. Yes, I fully believe that a kitchen should be uncluttered. I think that there should be as little on you should have plenty of workspace. So I do have things on my cabinets, but not a ton of things. I think that it should be organized at some point. Again, probably in our program, we will take the steps about organizing your kitchen and actually teaching people how to get organized so that the kitchen is not a frustrating place, that it is a beautiful place and that you can't wait to get in there. My dad has been complaining about his kitchen all week. He's been in there, I'm pointing because the kitchen's that way, but he's been in it. This kitchen is so hard to work in. And I'm like, you know what? It's a kitchen. Be grateful. We got a kitchen to work in. So, there's a couple of people in here that say that they have Barbie kitchens and that they have, what's the other one that somebody said? It was so funny. Just little tiny kitchens. It's okay. Just try to keep it as uncluttered and as organized as possible and clean as you go. So, yes. Yeah, working on organizing. Yes, absolutely. I think it's really important. Yeah, I know. This is what happens to poor Robin. It's just the opposite in our house, Sherry. I cook, he cleans, and it's kind of our standard practice. Sometimes I clean, I cook and I clean, but if he's busy, and there's no grudge there, but typically it goes that I cook, he cleans, and sometimes I leave him a big old mess, and I know he's like, really, Leslie? Seriously? Oh my gosh. Do you have to make such a big mess? So, but sometimes that's just the way it goes. So if you're familiar with my scopes, I am just going to say right now, thank you to all my replay viewers. Thank you for being here, everybody. I do an inspirational moment, and I'm going to do that right now. So if you've been watching the scope for the top 5 tips to reading a recipe and getting it, making something from it. That part of this is done. So now we're going to talk about a little bit of inspiration that I found this morning. Actually, yesterday's inspirational moment. If you follow me on Facebook, you should do that. Follow me on Facebook at Leslie Nance, LeslienNance. You can follow me there on Facebook. I do not friend a lot of people because I'm getting to the upper limits of how many people that I can friend. And I said 5 tips. Then I screwed up, Sherry. It was my top 5 tips. So 10 tips. Oh my gosh, we'd be here all day. Top 5 tips. I only have 5. Look, there's only 5. Number 5, and it ends. There's no more on the paper. 5. Top 5 tips. So yes, you wrote out 10 of them. Oh, well, then there was a lot of tips. I think there were sub-tips inside of the big tips. I had big tips and then sub-tips. And the big tips. So yes, so my inspirational moment for today is, yeah, a lot of tips. Let's just put it that way. Mega tips today. My inspirational moment today is to, you know, Robin and I have a very tight schedule. That's right, sub-tips. Robin and I have a very specific schedule that we try to adhere to, and we are delayed. We are in Texas because we are supposed to be driving home today, but we get delayed. We may be delayed a couple of days because the roads are really bad. The old me would be stomping my feet. For as much work as I have sitting on my desk and as busy as January is, I don't think that I've told you guys, but we're filming another marketing promo next week, and it's going to take a good portion of the week next week. And then the week after that, I'm at Periscope Summit. And then the week after that, I have a very important class that I'm teaching. And within that, wow, this room really got full really fast. And then after that, I have a at-home dinner that I'm cooking for our local newspaper for complete strangers. And so January is super packed, super busy. And I really was hoping that we could be home so that I could get to work. And so the old me would be stomping my feet. I mean, you know, looking at airfare, which I have to tell you, I did look at airfare, but looking at airfare, trying to find a way to get home, you know, rustling around, being crazy, being mad even. That would be the old me. The new me is just like, well, you know, everything happens for a reason, and we'll get home when we get home, and this is just the way it's going to be, and I'm just going to do my scopes, and we're going to talk, and, you know, I'm just going to continue on with what I do. We're going to go see a movie this afternoon. I don't go see movies in the afternoon. We don't go to movies in the afternoon, but we're going to go see the new Star Wars this afternoon. So my point in there, hi, it's good to see you. My point in there is just to relax into what is happening to you, because everything on this planet, everything, and a lot of people don't live their life under this principle, but everything that happens on this planet happens for a reason. There's a purpose and a reason for everything that happens to us. And so maybe, yes, we do have Edison with us, yep. And so, you know, stressing over things that I cannot control. I can't control the weather. I can't control when they open and close roads. All I can do is try to find a way around the situation and just be happy in it. And so the new me embraces that. Actually, the new Robin as well embraces that, and we're like, hey, we get to hang out with our family more, and we get to, you know, let's go see a movie in the afternoon. When do we get to do that? We actually get to see a friend that we weren't going to get to see on this trip now, and so we're actually embracing something that normally I would get really. They do, absolutely, Casey. That's a beautiful way to put it. But you know, we're embracing something that normally used to, even up to a couple of years ago, would have just really, quite frankly, excuse my language, and if you have kids around, I apologize, piss me off. It would tick me off. I'd be mad. And so, and it just doesn't happen anymore naturally. It just doesn't happen naturally anymore. I don't have these problems or these issues. And I attribute that to, if you're going to believe this or not, but a sense of self and a sense of health. So I care more about myself than I care about the stress that I was willing to hang on to. I actually care more about what the stress does to me that I might harbor for a situation like that. See, absolutely. I agree with you, Chastity. That is absolutely true. Yes, I'm absolutely more at peace. You know, on the way down here, Robin dropped his cell phone. That we were getting in the car to come here. Robin dropped his cell phone. It's crazy speech day for me today. I think I've been sleeping too much. I've been sleeping till like 8 and 9 o'clock in the morning. I never do that. It's been amazing. So, but Robin dropped his cell phone this morning, and yep, that's absolutely right. That's a great song for that. I'm not this morning, but on the morning we were coming here, he dropped his cell phone and cracked the screen. I mean, cracked it really, really bad. It has to be replaced. It's terrible. And then on the way here, he got a ticket for speeding, and he was speeding, and he got a ticket. So I know. So that day could have been completely ruined for him. He could have come here and been so mad and upset about the events of the day, but we got here and we were just happy. I know it does stink, but we were just happy to see our family. We're happy to be here safe, and we were laughing about the ticket actually, because he just totally blew the speed limit. You know he did. So we were coming into a small town, and the officer that pulled us over was so nice and so pleasant, and he could have given us a lot bigger ticket than he did. So we felt blessed that, you know, we've already paid the ticket, we're done. I mean, it's just over. But I mean, it's just things like that that used to really get me in an uproar. Just don't get me in an uproar anymore. I had a huge day yesterday. I had a huge day for Go-To Kitchens yesterday. We were at a crossroads yesterday, and I had to make decisions. And I had to do them in a, you know, I mean, they've had to be made pretty quickly. And, you know, I've been in a little bit of stress and a little bit of fret about it. But, you know, as I talk through it with my family, if I talk through it with Robin, as I talk through it with my other business associates, I realize that I don't need to stress about this, that I just need to let things happen the way that they're supposed to happen. So that's the kind of stuff that gets you blocked. And I'm going to wave to you as you get blocked. Bye. I was watching Diane Bernard, and she said when she blocks people, she warns them and then she waves bye to them because she wanted to be polite. And that's what I'm doing from right now. From now on, I'm waving bye to the people, so I'm being polite. So yes. So there you go. There's my inspirational. So you guys don't sweat the small stuff. That is an old saying. I'm fine, thank you. That is an old saying, and I think it's really appropriate for what's happening to us. Thanks for being here. I think it's really appropriate to what's happened to us this week is we're just not going to sweat the small stuff. So, you know, we'll get home when we get home, and we'll start doing what we need to do when we start getting there. So I know Robin's going to have millions of customers. So Dad is dancing. I don't know why he's dancing. He's dancing. He just was doing this little jig like this. I think he's dying to be on camera. I know he is. Come on, Dad. Come on over. He's just dying. He likes being on camera. It's funny. He's a ham. He's a little bit of a ham. I wonder where I get that from. Yeah, that kind of stuff gets you blocked as well. So I'm sorry if you're having problems, but you're going to have to find it somewhere other than Periscope. Bye-bye. He is really a ham. It's so funny. We had so much fun. If you guys did not, go to catch.me and find the episode of my dad and I with his new wave oven at Go-To Kitchens. It's so funny. It's hilarious. So yes. Okay, so you guys have an amazing evening or afternoon. I am going to go see a movie with my family and meet an old friend that I haven't seen in a while. Probably it's been over a year now, so I'm going to go see her. And yeah, and you guys have an amazing afternoon. And I will see you tomorrow. We will be on the road, and I'm not sure where we will be. Bye. See you guys. Bye. You can't say that on my scopes. You get blocked. So, wow, somebody let the trolls in today. They're getting in without location on nowadays. So, thank you. Yes, Tanya, it's good to see you. Bye, Linda. It's good to see you. I know. Hi, Chastity. Bye. See you guys. Have an amazing afternoon, and I will see you tomorrow. I have no idea. I'll have no idea. See you later. Yeah, nice to meet you too. I have no idea where we'll be tomorrow, so I'm not sure that I will be on schedule, but I will definitely be back. Well, I hope I'll be back here on Wednesday. So yeah, you do have to block some people. It's sad. So sorry about that. Yeah, I'm on my wireless signal, so that doesn't surprise me, Sherry, that you're getting a signal at all, quite frankly. So all right, you guys have a good afternoon. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Please get in your kitchen. Go cook something. Go take your tips. Take your tips and go cook something now. All right? Yes, I will. Absolutely. I'm going to enjoy my time for sure. Thank you. Love you guys.